Hi, this is Glenda. To Learn Forever had asked me if I've ever done the Citrasolve technique on geographic pages, and I hadn't actually ever heard of it, so I went off and had a look. And as usual, I rummaged through my cupboards rather than buying something new, because I don't have Citrasolve, which is a particular brand, but I tried pretty much every citric solvent sort of product I had, and this one I got some results. Orange Power, and it may be made in Australia, I think. Yes, it is. And my daughter picked up an Australian geographic, so we've turned this into an Aussie project, and it's so messy. I haven't got the results that I saw on the videos, but whoever gets the results like that the first time, and I will try it again if I get hold of an actual National Geographic instead of an Australian one. And I haven't done the whole magazine by any means, but I've got this pile of papers all ready to try. I will put a link to tutorials for the technique, because there's no point in me redoing it. I'm only just playing, and there's plenty of instructions on how to do it. But basically you get your solvent and you put it on your magazine pages and you leave it to soak in. It does seem to matter that it's not too cold. You do need to do it where it's a little bit warm. It's very messy, quite smelly, but it is a pleasant smell. And then you've got to pull them out and let them dry. So that's where I'm at, and I thought I'd do my little introduction before I destroy my pages and you won't be able to recognise them as magazine pages, hopefully. So I'll have a play and come back and finish this video. So I've made some cards. This crazy paper is relatively problematic to use because what you're doing is soaking it with citrus oil, so you've got solvent and oil going on in the paper. Therefore, you've got to be careful about what will actually stick to it. So pretty much for everything I have used glossy accents to stick down my papers, because nothing much else is going to do it. When it comes to inks, that's another whole challenge. What did work quite well was to emboss it. So for this one I did the faux cloisonné technique, so all I did was stamp, I think, in VersaFine, and then black embossing powder, and then cut it out. And it's nice, but I don't know that it's that much different to using the magazine without treating it first. So card makers probably, except for using up the papers, not a brilliant option. This one I used it as the background and stamped on it. I used this time Versamark and I used black ink and clear embossing powder, and I had problems with it, the embossing powder, even though it was dry theoretically, and I had used my anti-static bag a lot. I still had issues with stray embossing powder sort of blobbing onto it. So what I did afterwards was just emboss the entire thing. As far as colouring goes, I have found that if you use an alcohol marker, what it does is remove the ink so you can actually highlight spots, and that's what I've done for this one. This again was black stamping and I think black embossing powder. I'm sorry, it's already blurring, not to mention the fumes. All the cards are going to have the smell of the citrus solvent. I imagine that could stay with it forever. So that was my using it as a background and just putting a stamp on, and all I've done is just highlight a few bits with an alcohol marker to bring out the picture a bit more. But that one was fairly successful. Then the next thing I tried was I used heat and stick powder and glitter to do my dragonfly, and depending on the light he shows up fairly well. And he's supposed to be sort of camouflage on something in the bush, and yeah, it's anyway. And the last attempt was probably one of the least successful, where I've just cut off a piece to use as the ground, I airbrushed the sky and stamped 3 trees. I used some acrylic paint on it. As it dries, it's getting more horrible. It looked better when it was still fresh. So what I'm thinking of doing is covering the whole thing in glossy crackle medium, whatever it's called, crackle accents. But I didn't want to do that till after I'd done my video because I'll be waiting till tomorrow for that to dry. So we'll see what happens, but it's only a single layer card, so I could end up having to cut it off and relayer it and who knows what. So they're the few cards I've made. It was a very fun technique to try. It's never going to be one of my favourites because it's quite messy, it's not instant, and I think as card makers we've got a whole lot of techniques available that will give us similar looks, like alcohol inks and things that will give us similar looks without the mess. But yeah, for something to try, I've enjoyed it thoroughly. And at the end of the day I've got 4 to 5 cards depending if I can save this one. So if you watch, thanks for watching. I will of course put the link to the tutorial site where they give you absolute proper instructions and lovely results. And if you're an artist, what they tend to do is look at the image that they've got and sort of see what picture comes out of it and then create artwork out of it. And the other thing the lady does is collage it all, which is abstract out of abstract. So yeah, I'm not a mixed media person. I am a card maker who likes to do a little bit of mixed media in her cards sometimes. So I might move on to something lacy and frilly now, just as a complete change. And yeah, everything smells of citrus solvent. So thank you. Bye.